Hello, Perceptive Reader. This is James Lynch, and I want to say that, yes, it's more than birds of a feather flock together. It truly is everybody accepts their own. And then uh, another thought came to my mind that even some persons who may feel like they're outsiders or what have you, they're still not really outsiders in the way that a very small percentage of the society experience. And that very small percentage of what I would still call the Amhaaretz, in a sense of the world, it's very rare you get to really hear their story, hear their mental outlook on things, because they're just not accepted. You see, even people who consider themselves outsiders, or they are outside of just certain groups they may want to be in, yet those persons are still not being attacked and ignored in the ways that I tell you the Amhaaretz of the world really are. You see, I've seen this throughout the years, and I want to tell you this, that I'm always happy for professionals and people who are trying to make a living. And if something happens to them, it's like, even if it's a small group, that small group jumps on the bandwagon to get them what they need, to get them their protection, and they know it. And see, one thing about the Amhaaretz of the world, let me tell, and see, and I'm saying that for a word that you can either look up in some of my podcasts where I've talked about it, or you can look it up yourself, as far as the condition that those type of people really did experience, and at times, and what they had to deal with spiritually and physically, you see, with the way they just were viewed. So, with that being said, you see, the Amhaaretz of the world, many of them have come to just accept that if they really, in a sense, need to get anything done, they always have to mostly do it themselves. Now, when I say they mostly always have to do it themselves, this is what I mean. It means that even if they don't have the skills, they will still try to ask individuals for help in this matter or that matter. And yet, for the most part, they will always be in a learning phase of their life. They could be learning something that's very important, that's going to get them to the next level, that the people who don't really know about their situation or condition will start, having their own opinion on how they need to do this or do that. And the opinion goes beyond just vocalizing it. It's something about the Amhaaretz of the world that it brings out, as some people would say, almost like a predatory nature of other people, or an insensitive nature of persons if they're not careful. That natural affection or fellow feeling that we would have for our neighbors or what have you just won't be there. Something to do with the spirit, something to do with other factors as well, socially. But all the same, this is when I take the time to emphasize that no matter what background, culture, or situation a person is in, I said, you may not want to support that person, but then you don't let another side of the dark side of the personality cause you to just start joining in and attacking that person. attacking that person as far as being on the bandwagon. Uh, People today really express and explain themselves um, as to why they may have done something at times that was on the spur of the moment. But, even the good book says that we are just drawn out by our sin or what have you, and it's not God's fault, or whether, something bad that we may even engaged in or did to a person. All the same, um, we may try to understand a human being's psyche, but see, this is what it really boils down to. And this is some wise bit of information that was given to me many years ago. See, before I could fully grasp it. See, so it's a learning phase. But see, I tell you what, I understand it a lot more than what I did then. But see, you don't always have the opportunity. I like to use one song, if we knew better, then we would have done better. And so the first thing that I want to say before I give you this information is this. Sometimes people will still put more into just what a person has clearly stated to them, and then get upset with them when it doesn't turn out in this way or that way. For example, there's some information that I heard about a person, the way that they were treated for a long while, because they thought this person was fake. They thought this person was trying to be too perfect or what have you. Now, what was so interesting is all the while, starting from really day one, weeks, months, and years, the person always made clear, because let me tell you where that person's mindset is, even though you may not have had that directly said to you or these persons in situation. The person understand the condition of the spirit of the world of just singling people out and treating them even worse than the Amhaaretz that I'm telling you about now. Well, that person realized from just their life, they had to move a certain way, they had to function in a certain way. And in these days that we live in now, you see some persons would start saying, well, why is this person moving like this or that? So, attributing again bad or negative motives to the person. And so it actually has happened to more than one. I'm just using this term Amhaaretz. You see, I'm using it loosely. Uh, it took away still their buffer and their ability to function in the society the way that they truly needed to function, because it wasn't breaking any laws. And if persons still didn't appreciate certain aspects of the way that they view things spiritually, it still was never any excuse to attack the person. So let me tell you what the wisdom was still given. A wisdom that I even heard many years ago, was saying it truly is the way we deal with people, and especially even individuals at times. Now, everything don't always work out. Sometimes things really can get, blown out of proportion. And this is what I mean by that. It is the way that we supposed to be dealing with one another and individuals, how well we'll treat them according to the two greatest commandments, even when there is an offense going on or has happened. And so with that situation, this is my additional experience, I guess you could say, that gave me even more wisdom. What factors into this is you can do everything, and I really want to emphasize this, that is principally right and correct. You see what I'm saying? There is such thing as right and wrong, even principally. Now, whether persons make adjustments to their families, to their culture and backgrounds, that's them. But principally, there is a right and wrong the same way there is gravity upon the planet Earth, where you just jump up and down on your own power. Every time you jump up, gravity is going to bring you right back down. Okay? See, and that's just period. Okay. So, it depends on when we deal with persons, it's how we deal with persons. It depends on that person's mental psyche. And this is one of the reasons why I mentioned again, where sometimes, and I say this with all due respect, if something, and we did used to say stuff like this in my culture, if all cylinders weren't firing on a certain situation or that situation, I'm telling you, there's been times, and I can even admit it, persons might have even mentioned something to me. And because my mind was so preoccupied with something else, I wouldn't have heard it at all. And yet they'll take it as if I did. And I've certainly seen that with many persons that I've talked with. There's been important pieces of or information that I've thoroughly and clearly related, and other persons did as well at different times. And yet, because of the view or the situation or circumstance at the time, the person, it just really didn't register. You see, it just didn't register. So let me tell you what the Amhaaretz really would say, or what people are saying in general, that even though a lot of persons have made statements about this individual being this way, this individual being cold, this person being standoffish, or this person just always want to just stick to business or what have you. So while that is being said, and then at the same time, they're saying that person think they're perfect, they think they're too good, they're arrogant, they what have you. So it's like you got everything being thrown at the person. So here it is, the person still was saying, which some would at least most likely remember, just look at me as a vendor. You see the man that just walked in that store, who delivered those sodas, who delivered those foods, or what have you? Just look at it in this situation or that situation. Man was always clear about that. And so what happens, and this is what I mean about persons being drawn out, because this is what Amhaaretz have a tendency to do. It's interesting. Once a lot of stuff always end up coming out to the surface or in public or what have you, it's the Amhaaretz that seem to always get the mud and look down upon view as if this other person of this status or that status really didn't have an appreciation for that person. Oh, I've seen, make no mistake about it, persons ripped apart, all the while still knowing that whether that person, and that's right, and I'm going to close with this, whether that person was straight, whether that person was homosexual, bisexual, or what have you, that individual heart shining the way that a lot of people always say, their heart wouldn't even allow them to sit up there and not feel something towards another light, even if it's just a vendor of an Amhaaretz. And so sometimes these persons can have an understanding among themselves, but it's the social classes and society of people getting all in their business and Kool-Aid that can cause either one or both to become defensive. See, for the most part, I told you, Amhaaretz have dealt with this, I keep on talking about spiritual speaking, I've dealt with mess like this so much that it's like, okay. And so sometimes they'll just go ahead and take the blunt. You mean, I was really nothing but the gum on the bottom of the person's shoe, whatever. Oh, okay. But all the same, people, even if they succumb to the fear of man, remember what Peter did to Jesus? And you knew Peter loved Jesus. But look what he did. People still do that every day. So this is what I want to say in closing to all you who have maybe become socially or even spiritually like the Amhaaretz. Some of the people that have fallen apart with you or this and that or what have you, who once again wouldn't even give you a dime. Wouldn't even give you a dime. And that's the thing that I told you I just saw in the situation. I'm gonna give you this example. I know I keep on saying I'm gonna go, but I do want to bring this out because on one hand, see, I've seen persons vent as far as one's not doing this or that or what have you. As soon as they vent, boom, money just come flying in. But the Amhaaretz often don't get that. There's a gaslighting of the situation. There's an excuse or whatever. There's no understanding in that way. And that's all the Amhaaretz are normally just asking for anybody to be a vendor. They do a good job consulting a product or what have you, ebooks. People will rather find some way to break the paywalls or what have you, just not to give them a dime. And if they even get a GoFundMe or do something else to say, help me out in this matter. There's some medicine I need. Even if it's not for me, I need it for this or that. They will be ignored. They have been ignored. They still are being ignored. And still, the large numbers of society still try to find ways to justify, to ignore, and even treat them worse and continue to slander their name. And I still say before, it's never justified to treat your neighbor like that. There's a proper way of handling matters, or the way that we deal with matters. So the choice is up to you. Amhaaretz don't need to sit up there being crying and begging at your feet for anything. It's not pride. It really just goes to show for a lot of individuals how much dignity they have even within themselves to be able to shine their dignity and goodness upon others, whether they feel they deserve it or not. Take care.